Joining us now to review some of the headlines of today's newspapers from around the world is Arise News analyst Emmanuel Ifeni. Good morning, Mr. Ifeni.
Well, good morning, Rufai. Okay, good morning, Tundu. Let me not stretch it. I wouldn't mind Emmanuel. Now let's start the review with this day. Nigeria's newspaper of record. Quickly. Nnpc seeks to preempt Mobil on asset sale to Seplat. But oil multinational sold all its shares, not joint venture assets to Seplat. National oil companies' action open up possible legal tussle. Yes, the Nnpc may have created a wedge in that transaction in which ExxonMobil reported to have sold its assets, onshore assets, to Seplat, the indigenous oil company. But what the Nnpc is saying is that, look, in the joint venture, they have the right of first refusal. But sources are saying, well, what Mobil sold to Seplat is all its assets, not just joint venture. But one would have also expect that in the joint venture asset, well, if there is the right of first refusal in the agreement between Mobil and the Nnpc, where Nnpc is the majority shareholder, then they should be consulted whether they want to exempt that aspect of their asset, exercise their right of first refusal. But again, this is one landmark deal, the first in the PIA era, the Petroleum Industry Act era. If it's already been entangled in this kind of controversy, then what will be in the act that will protect all stakeholders? But I'm sure that will be sorted out somewhere along the line. Now let's look at the Guardian newspaper. Nigerians divided as Buhari seeks further amendment, yes, to the Electoral Act 2022. Provisions is unconstitutional, says Sage. There's nothing wrong with it. Adegboruwa insists. Milaye Kadiri, others urge National Assembly to ignore president. Of course, talking about Section 84, subsection 12 of the Electoral Act 2022 as amended. Now, should the National Assembly ignore the president, as some are canvassing? I don't think so, because there was an understanding for the president to sign and we amend later. But whether that aspect of the law is actually unconstitutional, well, lawyers are having divergent views. Adegboruwa and Ishesage there on opposite sides of the divide, as it were. Now, let's look at the New Telegraph newspaper, 2023. PDP power block plots to stop Atiku. Ex-VP said to consult Indigbo as Southeast Dare or Hanese. Jostle for VP tickets. Insecurity threatening general elections. INEC can. Yes, Abubakar Atiku, former vice president, who believes he can pick the PDP ticket any day. During his visit to former President Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, one of those Ruben would describe as the owners of Nigeria. Of course, Atiku told reporters, have I ever lost the PDP primaries? But he has. He lost one to Jonathan. I remember on that day, when the results were being released, he was chewing cola and fondling with his phone. He lost gallantly on that day. So it's not true to say he has never lost a PDP primary. But the Daily Independent newspaper also reporting on the PDP presidential ticket. Hope dims for Atiku Tambuwal as power shift gains traction. Yes, that statement of Atiku Abubakar, many in the PDP are not taking kindly to it. Of course, Nyeso Wike, governor of Rivers State, saying that Atiku seemed to be taking delegates of the party for granted. And if there is that traction that indeed power should shift to the south within the PDP right now, then the ambitions of Atiku, Bukola Saraki, Aminu Tambuwal, governor of Sokoto State, and of course, Hayatuddin, who declared his aspiration a couple of days ago would be in jeopardy. But let's see how the PDP plays their game. Daily Sun newspaper, I will just first look at the story beside the masthead, also on the presidential election 2023. Show more seriousness. Ohanaeze Ahamba charge Southeast presidential aspirant. I will add my voice to that. They should show more seriousness. Apart from Pius Ayim, who has declared his intention and has been consulting, some other likely candidates or aspirants have been very quiet. A certain Peter Obi, who many believe can make a good president, seems to be dodging the limelight. About his presidential ambition, I don't want him to be remembered as the best president Nigeria never had. So Peter Obi, please join the race. Let's hear from you also. And Ohanaeze is saying Igbo aspirants should show more seriousness. Now, the Punch newspaper, governors fume over falling FAC funds. Carpet Nnpc. Yes, when you spend 2.3 trillion to subsidize, it will come from somewhere. To subsidize fuel, it will come from somewhere, and that is why FAC allocation has been falling ever since the President Muhammadu Buhari, cannot bite the bullet and stop fuel subsidy. Now, if we just look at the foreign newspapers quickly, yes, the New York Times is reporting Russians push to tighten grip in South. Moscow and Kiev agreed to corridors to allow civilians evacuate. Of course, the Times of UK also reporting Putin vows total victory. Russian president claims Ukrainians have been brainwashed. The worst is yet to come, once Emmanuel Macron, after a phone call with President Putin. Yes, there was also the second round of talks between Ukrainian and Russian officials yesterday. Not much, but there is something. They have agreed to create a safe corridor for civilians who are trapped in war zones, while they've also agreed that aid should be sent to areas where there are people are also suffering from shortage of goods and services. Ruben, Rufai, and Tundo, over to you.
Let's Dr. Abati.
Okay, where do we start from? First, there is one issue that is out there, and I thought Tundo was going to start from there, which is the federal government of Nigeria, which is the story front page of this day, saying federal government green lights DCP carries extradition to the United States. And, this is the Attorney General already filing a matter at the Federal High Court in Abuja. And as I had said on this program previously, it's the Federal High Court that has jurisdiction in matters of extradition. And Nigeria has an extradition agreement with Nigeria under the British, 1931, ratified 1935, and then you have the extradition treaty of the 1960s. Okay, so you have that at one level. There's also the other story about DCP Kyari being charged to court by the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency. And I know that when we were considering this matter the other day, there was this issue about, okay, if he's been tried in Nigeria, then of course there will be no need to extradite him. And since the story became public yesterday, there are persons who have said, oh, this is a clear indication that Nigeria has no intention whatsoever to extradite him. But what is to be noted is that the issues are different.
Two different
The
cases.
issue with the FBI and with the court in the United States has to do with money laundering, electronic transfer fraud, wire fraud, they call it, whereas the other matter is about drug-related offenses. But there's no doubt, that Nigerians are interested in this matter, and they would like to see it resolved one way or the other. And, of course, the federal government, the police in particular, should also be interested in it. There's another story, front page of this day, which says 2023. World's eyes are on Nigeria, says U.S. ambassador. Okay, of course. We all need to be reminded that the entire world is watching Nigeria. One, for our economic importance. Two, for the population that we have. Three, for the reason that if anything happens to Nigeria, it's the rest of Africa that will be affected. And President Buhari, you know, this kind of statement should be for him a reminder that he owes everyone, not just Nigerians, the international community also, to finish strong, to end strong, and to hand over strong. And he has been talking about leaving a legacy of credible elections. So is the US talking now, but there will be other countries that will say more or less the same things. He has taken a bold step forward by signing the Electoral Act Amendment Bill 2022 into law. And already, you know, many people are pleased with that, even if there is reservation from the executive end about Section 84, subsection 12. But those are issues we should address. But beyond the law, the government also has a commitment to make sure that the implementation framework is put in place. For me, these are two key issues.